This is a Podco original.
For people I worked for 5 times without auditioning to be a moose.
We're a seasoned old creepy guy on kid shows already.
Yes. Selena Gomez, I remember her fingers were bleeding because her iPhone was cracked. And I said to David Henry, again, all down to earth, I said, can you do me a favor? He goes, what? He goes, can you mention me on Twitter?
And we're on a podcast, everybody, and we have a very special guest.
Yes, he is a stand-up, an actor, writer, a voiceover artist who was on Waverly Place as Dexter Quisenberry, which I actually don't know if I ever knew your last name.
I never knew it either.
Yeah, from the 4-part episode in Apartment 13B in season 4.
Which was a possible spin-off that we all smelled. Fred Stoller, everybody!
Thank you. Was I a doorman or was I a bellhop?
You were the manager.
I thought you were like an elevator guy.
No, that's what I thought too, but when doing my research, looking back, you were the manager of that apartment.
Yes, there was a zombie party. And yes, I have so many stories.
Perfect. That's what we're here for.
No.
Go for it.
No, I wanted to go right to the beginning. Like, you're born, and
I don't know about that yet.
This is an interesting thing, I think, for the audience, is what made you go, okay, I want to make people laugh. I want to be in front of the camera or do writing and that kind of stuff.
It's so unlikely any comedian. I was surprisingly very depressed, very withdrawn. This is the uncomedy part. I was so depressed. I'm going all over the place. I tend to do that. My girlfriend says I don't use nouns. I talk too much.
Conjunction, junction, get out of here.
Yes.
What's her name?
Lori. I had to think for a second.
Your name is paused.
I'm getting
Lori.
to the age where this is. You ever do that where you could be with your brother and you can't think of his name, or is it just me?
Yeah, no, that happens.
Oh, that's scary.
I have to look up. Like, for whatever reason, it helps my memory when I look up.
But there's also like a thing, I'm going to geek out on science because I always do, but like there's also a thing when you're trying to find something, your brain like inadvertently blocks it.
Or something you're so familiar with, you don't think to like process it. So
back to
all right, my depression. This is going to go to comedy maybe.
Was born and depressed.
I remember there was a Happy Days where they introduced Mork. Remember?
I do remember because my dad was considered for that.
Was he really?
Yeah.
To be what, Mork?
To be Mork, yeah.
Get out of here. Dom DeLuise as Mork?
Yeah, I know, right? And I think Jonathan Winters, who then later became his son on the show. But there's a great, what's his name? Who created that?
Gary Marshall.
Gary Marshall. See, I closed my eyes to try to remember his.
You should have looked up.
But Gary Marshall was a good friend of my dad's and wanted him maybe to do that. His son said to him, I don't want to watch Happy Days anymore. It's not fun. I want science fiction. I want something like that. That's where Mork came
Mork
from.
did a guest spot on Happy Days to establish him.
Yes.
And I remember he said to Rich, you could come to my planet, but if you come to my planet, you can't ever go back. And I remember going, I'll take that. Get me off this earth. I was so depressed when there was a movie where someone died and they said he's in a better place. I thought they meant the dirt. I didn't know they meant heaven. All right, forget the depression. I just didn't fit into the world. I didn't see myself being an architect or a dentist. I was depressed. What am I going to do? And
this was when you were 4?
Almost my whole life, yes. I remember like I was in summer camp and I'm walking around depressed. What am I going to do when I get older? Well, we're playing dodgeball. What are you talking about? Yeah. And so I would see on sitcoms. She didn't know who Jack Riley was. Did you know Jack Riley?
From this is
Bob Newhart.
Yeah, the Bob Newhart. He just recently passed away.
Yes. So
he was a genius. I don't remember.
He was Mr. Carlin on the Bob Newhart show. The very angry. So I would see all these weird guys in these guest spots, like Herb Edelman, all these guys you wouldn't know, and characters, and I'd relate to them, but I didn't know how you pursued that. It was like back when I was young.
Where did you grow up?
Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn.
God, that's very close to where my dad. was
Bensonhurst.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So back in those days, the old guy talking, you didn't have like YouTube podcasts, how you broke in. You didn't have DVD behind the features. So showbiz should have been another planet.
Yeah, but it was a lot of like going to Broadway or doing a play or something like
yes.
that.
I didn't know how you did it. I
Right.
thought, well, speaking of child actors, that it was like ice skating. You had to start when you were 3. If you didn't get into like the Brady Bunch, you couldn't do it. I thought so. So I had no idea. So but I related to the weirdos, the character actors, on TV. So then when I was 17, I went with my older sister to a comedy club called Pips in Sheepshead Bay. And I saw Richard Lewis and Billy Crystal before they made it.
Wow.
And Billy Crystal was talking about season Nick tickets and his kid. And I remember going, wait, I don't know who he is. And he could go to the Knicks and from doing this. What is this? I didn't know stand-up. They didn't have comedy nerds. This was...
It was new, but I mean, Lenny Bruce, I mean, there were...
But I didn't study... Now people study comedy.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I just... Actually, this was very inspiring. Buddy Hackett, he was on The Tonight Show. He goes, I didn't lose my virginity till I was 23. Why lie? And I remember that really helped me because I was a teen and I didn't know how to meet women. So it really helped me that someone was admitting they were a virgin. Yeah. So I've really helped people. No. So my sister's friend said, there's a place in called The Improvisation in Manhattan where... Freddie Prinze. You're too young to remember Freddie Prinze Sr.
No,
Sanford and Son.
Yeah.
No, Chico and the Man.
Chico and the Man. Sorry, everybody.
Yes,
He's
and
too
Jimmy.
young to remember too, apparently.
And Jimmy Walker, who was a hero to me because I was very skinny, believe it or not. I was like, no, I have a gut now, but I was a stick figure.
Yeah.
And I asked this one woman, a homely woman, only because I thought I'll go for the lowest first.
Oh, no.
And she said, no, you're too skinny. So I never asked another woman out. I said, if she said no, they all will. So I saw like a skinny, goofy guy on TV, and I loved Jimmy Walker. I thought he was funny. So
that was good times.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So then... So someone explained they did their act at a place called The Improvisation. They got on The Tonight Show, and then they got a sitcom. I said, that's how you do it.
Well, that is how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you did it, yeah.
But even though I wasn't funny and I was depressed, I said, I only have to do stand-up twice. First, I'll go to this place, The Improv, do my act, and then you go on The Tonight Show, and then I don't have to do stand-up anymore. Well, that didn't happen.
Strangely so.
But The Tonight Show, which is now Jimmy Fallon show, it was how you were made or breaking on that.
Yeah, like David Brenner.
Yeah, but if you bombed on The Tonight Show,
you were done.
It was over. Right?
Did you guys watch that? I know like my ADD is coming in, but the Jim Carrey produced a series. I think it was on Showtime. It was about
I'm Dying Up Here.
Yes,
yeah.
It was so good, and it was. But was that the scripted one or the documentary one?
That was the scripted.
Yeah. So, but the first episode, they have somebody go on the Tonight Show, kill, and then he literally talk about being depressed. Literally walks in front of a bus and kills himself.
I'm going to do that after this podcast. How do you top this? I'm going to come down from this high.
But that's
what the story was.
But he was like, I can't ever top this high.
Well, also another thing, the Young Comedian special, which I was on one. There were 6 of us, and I wrote one of my mini books about it. There, 2 of them made it from the special, David Spade, Rob Schneider. I kind of was the middle. Jan Karam kind of, catering for, and 2 of them are dead. One shot himself in his head talking to his wife on the
everybody.
phone.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're feeling depressed like Fred, either do stand up or call, this suicide prevention line.
No. All right. But what am I saying?
But there is like something to that whole
there
thing
was
of comedians are dark people. There is some undertone to them.
Do you feel like you're successful now? Do you feel like you've gotten to a point where, because I mean, you have been in huge movies.
Yeah.
You were a writer on Seinfeld. These are things that don't
now
normally...
I'm getting my mother's voice out of my head. Well, the thing is, a book I wrote...
Wait a minute, so does that mean that your mother was negative to you?
Oh, my God.
Oh, okay.
Like anytime I'm on the show, is it a big part, a small part? And before DVRs, I don't know if you had this when you did guest spots, is like... When are you in this? Like, how much of this crap do I have to watch before you?
No, of course.
There's always one parent.
Did you watch me? I was channel surfing. What? I missed it. I hated, remember before DVRs?
Of course.
And watch me in it. And then they either go, all right, when is it? And I don't bother then. Yes.
I stopped after I did an episode of Blossom with Mr. T, actually. It was amazing. And I told, so there used to be a thing, everybody, something called a TV Guide, and
that was my dream to be in.
And in the TV Guide, it would say, on Thursday, this episode, and it would give you a little synopsis. Well, the synopsis was there, my episode, and I told Anne Bancroft and Mel Brooks to watch it. I was so proud of myself. And then they watched the whole thing. It was the wrong episode.
Oh no!
And I was like, I'm never telling anyone to watch. Yeah, the TV Guide was wrong.
Growing up, I used to love reading TV Guide, and I used to like obscure black actors. I'd root for them. Thalmus Rassalusala, Moses Gunn, they're working. I was happy. So I used to love seeing. I used to love the Barb Newhart show, Mary Tyler Moore. At the end, they'd have the guest stars. Da 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 da. Yeah, I used to love TV Guide. So the first time I was on Everybody Loves Raymond, they didn't tell me I was cut. My whole part. Yes. So my mother said, "What did you do wrong? Did you annoy people?" And so I learned after a while, don't tell anyone I'm in something because you could never assume.
Yeah,
that's true.
My thought.
No. I was going to say my first 3 jobs that I had as an actor, I was cut out of every single one of them. Headlines, had all of it. So
I've been in trailers for movies and I'm cut.
Oh yeah.
I was in what was the movie? With Eddie Murphy, I forgot what it's called.
What happened in the film?
It was Daddy Daycare. I was cut from, and I was in the trailer for a movie called Dear God. And I got to say, Gary Marshall, the 2 menchiest people I ever worked, that did the things no one does.
Yeah.
I was cut from a movie called Dear God with, Dear God, what is it?
Dear God.
Yes, I forget, Greg Kinnear, and Gary Marshall sent a handwritten note saying, nothing personal, you were great, we're sorry,
so nice.
We cut you. No, people, I've been in shows, they don't have the decency to tell a guest guy. And every time I did The Nanny and her other show I did twice, Fran Drescher would send a note, thank you for being a guest. You're a great character.
You didn't get ghosted, which was good.
They thanking you for being a guest. So most of them So answering your question about success, I never was a regular on a show. So when you're the guest, you're on eggshells. Like you can't flub a line. You want them. You're auditioning all week, first to get the part, then at the table read, then every run through. And so I never felt like a big success because it's always like, oh, I hope they bring me back. I hope I didn't mess up.
This is part of the reason why I think you worked so much because a lot of times people will get the job and they'll go to the table read. They're like, I got the job.
Yes.
And then they're not back, the next day.
Even a series regular, you can't get too comfortable. I mean,
you
how many
never,
times does one kid become a different person in another season?
I knew I was had a job and on the show when it had gone 2 seasons.
Oh, see, my joke is, has it come out on DVD and am I still in the DVD?
Okay, well, there you go, Jen.
Well, I always was a guest, envied, you're doing it, and then you see them getting the script for the next show, and I'm back on the street. I felt like it was a foster kid going from home to home, hoping one keeps me on.
Well, okay, so let's go to Wizards for a second. Now, were you offered the part?
Yes.
Did you go in and audition? Did you know Peter Marietta? What was the catalyst? Take us through your Wizards first episode.
Well, I think a few years before, there was a part they wanted me to audition, and I didn't want to. I didn't know how big Wizards was. I was kind of burnt out to auditioning. When I had a string after my guest spot on Seinfeld, I was getting guest spots without auditioning.
If I may interrupt you for one moment. Back in the day, it used to be people knew who you were. There were the higher ups, and you were on a list, and they were like, "Oh, Fred's great. We know him." And then it changed, and you would get offered parts, and then it changed, and huge stars had to start auditioning again because, in my opinion, the higher ups were kids, and they didn't know who we all were.
Well, also another thing, again, you're good with comedy history. In the heyday, there were sitcoms on every network, every night of the week. There was a time they had must-see TV. They had Monday Must-She TV. They had Brooke Shields' show. Nancy McKean had a show I did. So every night there was sitcoms. This is before, reality shows, game shows,
sitcoms
Nightline.
were the
Well, it
thing.
was literally like talk shows at the end of the day, and then sitcoms leading up to it.
Remember TGIF on ABC? I did Sabrina. They had now those would be on Nick. So there was so many more parts like. Fred, we know he's the schmucky, nervous guy. Most of the parts I've gotten, I had an audition for, and if I had to have, I wouldn't have gotten it.
But auditioning too is hard. It's literally, I tell people, I'm like, auditioning is if you can do it in that environment, you can do it anywhere.
I did stand up. Everyone says stand up's the hardest. To me, auditioning is because every room is different. You can't figure it out.
Fred, when you're doing stand up, it's you. Yes. You're writing. It's all you. Yeah, you fuck up, it's over. It's you. You know what I mean? But when you're doing a show where you have lines, someone else gave it to you. It's your then interpretation.
Yes.
But back to Wizards.
Okay, so
you get a call.
So I get a call. They want you for 4 episodes, which, whoa, that's good because, 4 of the...
You knew ahead of time? Disney never does that. They gave you the...
No, it was a 4-episode arc.
I understand, but they don't have to tell Fred.
That's true.
No. I think they asked my availability from what I remember, and then...
And that means this. You didn't book the job, everybody, but availability means we want you. We're not going to pay you yet, but we want to know if we do give you the job,
Are you free?
If you're available.
Yes.
You're available.
Yeah.
So... I, for a while, I poo-pooed these Nick Disney shows because there was one on Hannah Montana. They wanted me to audition for people I worked for 5 times without auditioning.
Yeah.
To be a moose. And I didn't want to be the middle-aged guy in a moose costume. Moose, moo, and all the bratty stars walking by. So sometimes when you're doing a kid's show, you're the weird middle-aged guy in a weird costume, and the bratty kids are walking by. I'm going to get to it. Wizards was amazing. Nothing like that. So yes. So from what I remember, sorry.
On Hannah Montana, you worked for them, and then they ask you to audition.
No.
It's a power play.
Well, first of all, these producers, I did like 6 episodes of Murphy Brown back in the day. I did Suddenly Susan 4 episodes, and they wanted me to audition to be a guy in a moose costume. And he's like a pathetic, I'm a moose. And so like if it's a Coen Brothers movie, I'll put on antlers and moo, but for Hannah Montana, for people I've worked for, so I in this business, it takes a while to say, I don't want to do it. So I would always lie. Wait, I'll tell you why. Because when they want me to audition and I know I'm wasting my time, I'd always made up voiceover jobs. I'm not available. Because I've had agents where they go, you could turn down things if it doesn't feel right. And I go, okay. They go, oh, no more auditions for Fred. Oh, he just not good enough. You know what I mean? So they always say you could turn down stuff. But then if you do once or twice, you're done with them.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I, from
There's so many things I want to say, Brad. I'm like, I want to say that. Because something my dad would say to me is, when you're going to audition, put on makeup, walk in and be like, hey, I got to get back to set.
Well, he was Dom DeLuise, so it's different.
But let them know that you're not
or let
available.
them know that you're not available.
Yeah, kind of
right,
thing.
but I was always afraid to say, I don't want to audition for this, when I knew I was wasting my time. I'm very good at that. And I know when I'm wasting my time, but I'd say, I can't do it. And then they move things around. You can't lie.
Yeah, you got to say, I'm also not available on that day
and so then with the Hannah Montana, well, wait, I'm working in Canada. I went back to stand up. So I have eventually.
Did you do the moose?
No, I eventually did another part on Hannah Montana. Well, I'm going to segue into your show. So
let me say this. This. When Hannah Montana started, it's when Disney and Nickelodeon started doing their format of sitcom. Yeah. It's when sitcom on NBC and they were still happening, but Disney was revitalizing it. And one of the things that Disney that they did so well was even if they wanted you and they knew you were going to have the
Yeah.
part, they would have you audition because then you would take scale. Then you would take a smaller part. You wouldn't ask for more money because you were like, yeah, I want the job. You know what I mean?
I always wanted the guys, don't make trouble with my agent. I'm going to ask for more money. No, they'll get mad.
Yeah, I was that
was
way
afraid.
too.
Yeah.
I didn't know because I had a child when I was 21. I didn't know that I could formulate a career. I just was like, I need a job.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was-
and it's very rare that I passed up on a job or an opportunity. You
So
know?
I had done Hannah Montana, where it was the last year, and Miley Cyrus didn't want to be there, and
Yeah, I remember that set. They were all over
yeah, and I
it
did some
on
other
season
kid
4.
shows like Corey in the House
you
wasn't
did
fun.
Haunted Hathaways.
Yes. So when I went to your show, it was
You were a seasoned old creepy guy on kid shows already.
yes. I always would play a lot the teacher, where they thought I was like Ben Stein, and everything is
Ben Stein is from Ferris Bueller.
Bueller.
Yeah,
I have people
Yeah.
who still say "clear your eyes," like,
like,
they
"That's
think
not
it's you. I'm
me."
not Ben Stein,
Yeah.
but I've done like 5 or 6 times a teacher where the joke is talk slower because
Yeah.
it's really broad.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm excited.
Well, just you made us laugh. I mean, everybody rewind 10 seconds here, and when you went, I'm a moose. It's funny, you know. And by
yeah,
the
I
way,
should've done
Fred,
it.
you manifested that because earlier in the episode you said, I looked at these character actors and I love that. I wanted
Yes.
to. That's what you did. That's what you've
I
become.
remember when I saw my therapist in New York, I said, I always like those 2-line guy parts. Who's that guy? I want to see more of him. He goes, you should have bigger dreams. So maybe I got what I wished for. Who's that little 2-line guy? Yeah. So I did Wizards, and it was the most down-to-earth cast crew. I didn't want to leave.
So we were better than everyone else.
Yes.
But wait, did you audition or get offered?
No,
they
I
got the
got offered.
Okay.
So basically, I don't know where to start. So many stories where Selena Gomez, I remember her fingers were bleeding because her iPhone was cracked.
Oh, no.
And I said, I live by the Grove by Apple Store. She goes, no, I'm saving money. I'm going to Aruba.
Aruba?
Yeah, she was going. And so I'm going, this is Selena Gomez, and she doesn't want to fix her iPhone.
Yeah.
And she was so down to earth where, okay, all right, I'm going to tell a story
Yeah.
about you. So this was very exciting. So I remember I'm just standing there, the weird middle-aged guy, and on the breaks, you would so I'd see her iPhone light up. You see Justin, and you're going, don't answer it. Guys play games. And I'm going, this is Justin Bieber. And you're giving advice, and I'm eavesdropping. And then she left the phone there, and you see it light up, Justin, I want to answer. Hi, could I say talk to Justin Bieber? So it was she, for someone in that world, you're just giving casual guy advice when it's Justin F. and Bieber.
Yeah, but
And
it's interesting, Fred, because to Jennifer and to Selena, Justin was another guy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he was Justin Bieber
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
at the time he was torpedoing me. I was like, get out of here.
But for their
Yes.
for their pool, their thing, it was like someone in high school.
Yes.
You're with a friend. It's like, oh, Bobby's calling you. Don't answer because he's a guy.
Yes.
Whatever.
Well,
you know.
I joke all the time. It was like Disney High because it was. It was all of our
Yes.
high school.
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
so,
and you had the popular kids and the less popular kids,
All of
and
them-
everybody dated everybody, and yeah.
so all the anxiety I had other shows, if you flub a line, those showrunners, it was so casual. I didn't feel any pressure. Even the stand-ins, there was a stand-in, I forgot his name, kind of a...
Dennis?
He was, like not chubby, but he kind of was shy, but he would do an impression
I
of
know
me.
who- yeah.
Yes. So Selena taught me how to do the Dougie. She took me aside. I had to
That's right,
glean
'cause we
and
did the
brush. So
Dougie.
here's Selena Gomez teaching me to do the Dougie, and all of them.
That's so funny how Selena Gomez at the time, because when we shot the first season, we were in the dark. We hadn't been
Yes.
on TV yet. So
Yes.
no one on set had gotten that, like, we're
Yeah.
famous people
But
now.
she
you know?
didn't act
She
He
didn't
was
like
act
on
that way.
He was on season 4, so that
I
was
know.
the very end.
That's what I'm
But I'm
saying.
saying
which is
she was a
interesting.
superstar.
Yeah.
But was so like we did one scene in the elevator, and she's going, I can't stop laughing. I just look at him; he's so funny, and it was so much like high school. I actually Again, I'm so bad with names.
Okay.
Well, you've said 1,000 names
But
today already.
she's. I worked with her a few other times. She was the AD, and
I think which one?
she's very sweet. But
Well, while
kind
you're
of
thinking, I'm going to say this. There's a great blooper where Selena and Jennifer are crossing to their apartment, and something about, I don't.
But she's like, how are we going to afford this apartment if I don't have any fucking money?
Right.
Like, yeah, and then they bleep it out. It's pretty funny.
That's so funny.
what was that? Yeah, with the so after it was over, everyone's friending me from the crew, and then I get this weird thing. Hey, Fred, it's Selena, wink, wink, that she friended me. So it was just like a little family.
And it was new too. The Twitter had started already,
Yes.
Yeah.
which was like the first time. I know that I did KTLA. It was like a panel of 4 people, and people were like, Twitter, 140 characters. Like, what is that? Oh, I'm going on a walk, or I'm going to the bathroom. And I was like, I said the girl on my show has 100,000.
I did something pathetic.
But 100,000 followers,
Which at the time was huge. Now she's got like 480 million or
right,
some
but
nonsense
100,000 at the
number.
time opened their eyes, and I was like, she can tell 100,000 people in a nanosecond that she's got a song coming out or a book or whatever, and they all kind of were like, oh yeah, this is
how
interesting.
pathetic I am. When I was on Wizards, Twitter was new, and I said to David Henry, again, all down to earth, I said, can you do me a favor? He goes, what? He goes, can you mention me on Twitter? Yeah, Twitter. So I asked David Henry to try to get Twitter followers.
That's amazing. It's funny you say that, because my dad had passed away, and someone was pretending to be. I was like, I'm not going to do this like kid social media thing. I don't need that.
That's what I said about Instagram.
But then someone was pretending to be me and talking as if it was me about my dad, and I was like, this is not okay. So I created an account, and my name was taken. So David Henry helped me set up an account, and it's capital D_DeLuise is my Twitter handle or whatever. And he helped me do that. And then all the kids, were like, because there was no blue check, there was no way to,
Yes.
So the fact that they, kind of interacted with that account was helpful, So a quick question. What was the difference when you were working on Seinfeld and doing that like grown-up sitcom stuff to the kids' shows?
Well,
What
first
was
of
the
all,
difference?
one of the things I love about animation and kid shows, even though Seinfeld obviously has amazing cachet, the best times I've had when there's no self-importance. When you're going, this is a stupid show, it's silly, but whenever,
You take the weight off it. You take the weight off of it.
Right. Even a show like Jesse, we worked together.
Which was the
episodes.
Christina Applegate show that I did with George Zunza, which was on after Friends and before Frasier.
Yes.
Thank
So
you very
I did
much.
4 episodes of that, and Christina is a sweetheart. And
The best.
yes. So, but even that, it had the. Did that have the writing staff from Friends? It's still,
Peter Marietta and his partner were 2 of the writers on.
Okay, maybe
on
I think
Jesse, and it was Bright Kaufman Crane who produced Friends.
So it still had that. The writers had to run through with their arms folded and checking, and it still had that. Oh no,
Tense.
This is a sitcom, a network sitcom.
high expectations.
Raymond was amazing to be on Everybody Loves Raymond, but it's had this thing like we are the writers and we walk on the set and all right, I hope I said the right thing. So I love kid shows, even though it doesn't have the cachet that it's just we're not doing a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's I mean.
There's a sense of play.
But what's
Yes,
interesting?
yes.
I mean, we put that on there, right? We make that happen. And yes, the energy is different on the set of like a Seinfeld or a Raymond to a kid show. But we put that there.
Yes.
And wouldn't it be nice to function in a high place like that and be okay with it?
I think there are some shows that do that.
I think it's that top-down mentality, right? It's like whoever is at the top sets the tone for the
Well,
entire show.
I'm bad with names. Peter left when I was doing it. Who was the showrunner? Very sweet
Ben
guy.
and Vinny.
Ben and Vinny,
Yeah.
but there was another guy.
Todd Greenwald. who
Yes.
created it, yeah.
So they just had an easy vibe where they treated me. They were very glad to have me. And
Yeah, it felt good. Listen, it feels nice when people want you to be there.
yes.
And you're not having
it's
to,
like-
and you don't have to prove yourself.
And I already was going to be there 4 episodes. And,
Yeah, you felt a little more comfortable. You weren't
and it was
walking on
fun.
eggshells as
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
But I have to ask you this question.
Sure.
When you were in the writer's room with Jerry Seinfeld and
Larry David.
and what was that like? Okay, so a lot of times people will say a comedian, a stand-up comic, this is how they laugh. You hear a joke and they go, funny or not.
Yeah.
Was there laughing? Was there camaraderie? Were there ideas? I mean, how the fuck did you sit there and go, all right, hey Seinfeld, this is my idea. This is the
Yeah.
like. What was that like?
Well, it was different than any sitcom writing staff in that many things have what's called a table where the first day of the season they pound out, let's do a thing where George and this and that, and they do
You break stories.
You break
Yeah.
stories
You go-
Yeah, Wizards
together,
had that.
which could be harrowing because my friend said it was like a game show buzzing. It is, or someone,
Yeah.
if he's a little more low key, he'll say, how about Jerry does that? And no one hears and it goes, how about Jerry does that? Yeah!
That's a very Mel Brooks thing. Because
Yes.
I was on the set of Robin Hood Men in Tights because I did one part, and someone said something, and Mel actually, I think, said, no. And then 2 minutes later, he was like, I got it. And he said the same thing.
Yeah.
There's a collective.
Well, you got to be loud
hive
and
mind.
aggressive.
Yeah.
And so with Seinfeld, it's the opposite where the way I describe it, it's like you're solving homicides, but your own murders. You're in your own room and you're not, no one helps each other out. Everyone's trying to come up with a Jerry, George, Elaine, and Kramer story. So, all right, the first day, all right, Fred, that's your office. That's my Larry David impression. All right,
That's
come
how he
on.
talks?
Yeah. You come out, you find me when you got a story, and that was my first staff sitcom job.
Wait a minute. How does that happen? Do you write a spec
Yes.
script? Is writing an episode for a show that you're not involved with yet, and you give it
Okay,
to
what
them,
happened
right?
is I never had the dream to be on staff. Well, that's the ones, the comics from my days who were not the funniest, but they went to sitcom writing staff are the richest. But there's one guy I always mention, Mike Rowe, who he watched the Dick Van Dyke Show and dreamed of being around a table. I never had that dream. So basically, you did what was called write a spec script to show your writing ability to try to get staffed. I just wanted to be a character actor.
But how did you get your
Okay,
spec script to Seinfeld?
So I was at a friend's surprise birthday party, and it was a lot of comics from the 80s, right? And so Larry David comes in later. I don't want to have to scream surprise like an idiot. Again, it's bad, Larry David.
Always late to a surprise party. of course.
I'm not going to scream surprise. You'd let me know when to come. I don't want to do that.
That's an episode.
Yeah. So he comes in, and everyone was going up to him. Did you read my spec script? Hoping Larry would use it.
Yeah.
So he was already kind of not being a bully, but going, how come you know you'll never get laid? When's the last time you got laid? No one's going to want you. You're too pathetic.
Is this him talking to you?
Yes.
Oh.
He goes, you're a loser. You're doomed. You're a Jew from Brooklyn. And so he kind of, whatever. And so then he said, how come you never wrote a spec script? And I go, I don't. Well, why write something, just to show you a sample? He goes, we'll write one. Nothing will happen, but I will read it.
I love that. He was asking you. And there's something interesting to that, that because you didn't
Yes.
shove one in his
Well,
face,
but-
Yes.
he was curious.
It's exactly what you were saying earlier about like take a vacation, have another job, say you're busy on a voiceover gig. They want you more.
He at the time he was eating up and spitting out comics.
Yeah.
Where they'd come in, anything from your act, and they were on their own, and they were getting fired. So he was using comics from the 80s he started with, and I think he thought, well, my act, maybe was clever and about being depressed and an outcast. Maybe I had stories from my. He goes, you have a shitty life, and you use things from your shitty, pathetic
Maybe
life.
he could relate to it because it's
Right.
kind of Larry David's
Yes,
narrative.
yeah,
you know?
everything you're describing is kind of
Yeah.
Like George stories. So at first I said, he emphasized choice. Nothing will happen, but I will read it. I go, well, I don't want to. Why do I want to do this? But at the time, everyone, I go for the chance for Larry David to read it.
Yeah.
I heard his story. Remember the Learning Annex courses?
Oh yeah.
One time someone said Jason Alexander gave a thing, and everyone was giving him spec scripts of Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah.
So then I said, all right, I'll have just a spec script. It'll give me a reason to do one. So there was a thing that happened, again, way before the internet. Someone said, I'm going to set you up on a blind date, but she's away for the summer. I wanted to know what she'd look like, to get excited. Ooh. And so then I had an idea. What if I hired a police composite artist so my friend could to draw her, and I could go, yeah, maybe after the summer, this will be good. So that was it. I used a few things, stories in my spec script.
So some from the spec script got into. Did that become an episode, or
yes?
Okay.
Well, yes and no. So and I used other things. I flew in a woman I met in London, and she'd get mad if I said what instead of pardon, because that's how the proper way. So I put in a few things. And back then in '94. They had these like algorithms of half word processor, half computer, and my friend helped me format it to make a script. So Larry calls me up. Everyone does. I got to.
We're enjoying it. We want to hear your. You're like the. We're 1 degree here.
So he
came to the set by the way one time.
He goes, I like the police composite thing. And I go, you're going to use it in an episode? He goes, I don't know. Let me see. And then he calls me up and goes, you want to be on staff? And I went,
holy shit.
And I go,
let me see.
But I'm saying, I guess, but back then.
Wait a minute. You didn't instantly say, yeah, of course I want to be on the staff.
Remember what he said. His friends that weren't that funny and stuff.
They were getting eaten up.
They were getting eaten up. Right,
spit out. And also, it wasn't a route I was thinking of going because, a lot of these guys on the sitcoms, it's a career, and they'll work on every show. Like I knew the guy Drake Sather who killed himself. He worked on Larry Sanders News Radio. Then he wrote on Empty Nest. And I go, wow, you're an Empty Nest. When I was doing a guest spot, you get nosebleeds falling this far, So it's a career. So I said, I guess I don't know how to do it. He goes, I'll show you how. Yeah, it's easy. And I had to be on staff. That. I go, all right. I guess I'm making my insurance as an actor. You get better insurance here at the Writers Guild. I went, oh, okay.
I love it. Where your mind goes is my favorite. You're like, he wants me to be a writer. Do I get insurance?
Yes.
That's a big question. But you worked on like the iconic, the No Soup for You episode, correct?
No.
Because you worked on the soup, and then what was the other one?
The face. Okay. So basically, well,
congratulations.
Thank you.
By the way, I mean, it's
congratulating me for something in '94.
Yeah, but the idea that your feeling about that. You were like pushing it away constantly. You were like, I don't know, comic genius. I'm not sure if I want to do this with you, which is so fascinating to me.
I show my you got to be, I could do this, no problem. I go, all right, I could learn, all right. And So he, so you give it an office, and you could only start writing when you pitch a Jerry Elaine Kramer and George story.
And it has to be everybody.
Right, and then they have to connect it. So no one's helping you form it. So I'm trying to like find him. He's on the set, he's editing, he's casting. Yeah. Larry, how about this? Well, no, that's stupid. So I would just nap in my office or play pinball by Radford at a taco place because you couldn't write until your stories were approved. So you're not really learning anything. You're not at a table. Yeah. You're totally isolated answering your other question. So then what happened? Okay, so what's it called? Jerry's stories were the hardest to come up with because he doesn't have flaws. He's not petty. He's not cheap. He's not nervous about women. The things.
There has to be some problem outside that he has to get.
So what happened was, I went to, not the Soup Nazi, so I went, I bumped into at the Beverly Connection, this annoying comedian. I've mentioned his name before, so I could do it now. Yeah, Bruce Smirnoff. He goes, hey, do you know him?
No. But I
the name
love that you're
sounds
like,
familiar.
yeah.
I've done that on podcasts. I won't mention names, but I probably will. You just can't not. So he goes, hey, what size suit are you? And I didn't own a suit. I don't know. He goes, I got a size 40. I'm muscular. I don't fit. I used to be skinny. You want an Armani suit? Armani? That sounds good. So this is the episode.
Yeah.
So then he gives me an Armani suit. He goes, $1,000, which it turned out, I found out he lied. He went to some closeout with this other comedian and got it for $200.
He was trying to,
So he goes,
pull one on you.
He goes, you take me out for a meal, we're even. I go, all right. So then so he goes, meet me at Jerry's Deli. So he gets soup and a Coke. And he goes, I'm going to save the meal for another time. So it came to like $20 back then.
Yeah.
It was a lot, So then he goes, hey, meet me at Jerry's. So he does it again. I'm going to save the meal. And I picked up the check.
Yeah.
So I told that to Larry. He goes, Jerry's more assertive than you. He would say right away, this is the meal. So it wasn't the soup Nazi. It was the soup count as a meal.
Copy. Okay.
God, so good.
yes.
It's the little things. Okay, so I want everyone to know you've written some books.
Well, the book I mentioned called Maybe We'll Have You Back, about the being a perennial TV guest star, and my Seinfeld year, about what it was like, my tumultuous year writing at Seinfeld, which, by the way, it starts off on this Wizards of Waverly Place.
Oh, does it really?
So this is what happens, how I set up the story. So you remember that craft service room? I used to love it.
Free food, everybody.
Oh, the candy. I knew where the candy was.
Yeah, little candy. Well, Susie Q had the little candy drawer, our script supervisor.
I remember that. And so what happened was I was like, there was one scene in Wizards where I had these angel things on, where I turned into the angel.
Well, yeah, because you remember the angels. He was Gorog, but he had to take a different form.
Right.
So I'm there in this. No, I think I was the bellman Cap. Yeah, like Pee Wee Herman. And so I'm there, and David Henry, I don't know if you remember, was very close to being in the Hunger Games.
Really?
Yes, he was. They brought him back. Well, you went, I don't know.
I think he had a callback,
So
but a lot of people had a
He made
callback.
it like I'm learning archery. I'm up for
That
this
tracks.
thing. He thought he said it was between him and two others to be the lead of the Hunger Games. Okay.
No. Sorry, that was not what happened, but okay.
Okay, so I'm
Between him and a Hemsworth, come on.
So I was giving. So the way this story starts off, this is true, is I'm giving him advice like, don't go to your acting coach. You're the guy. You're not. Go in. And then I looked at myself in the mirror, and here I am, this middle-aged guy with a Pee Wee Herman bellhop, day player kind of guy, giving advice to the studly star of the show. About auditioning for the Hunger Games. So then a writer comes, one of the writers of Wizards goes, didn't you still work on a writer on Seinfeld? I said, yeah, and they always go, well, what happened? Why here I am working on Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah.
The dream is for writers to write on Seinfeld. And here you are, like, learning how to do the Dougie, like a slinky on the side. And he couldn't believe, like, how'd you go from working on Seinfeld as a writer to being the middle-aged guy going, hey, I'm Dougie?
What did you say?
So he was just looking at me like, this is sad. And then I was, all of a sudden I was like, before I could answer, Selena grabbed me. I got to teach you how to do the Dougie. And so basically that starts a story like, yeah, what happened? How did I end up?
Oh, I love that.
So then I flash back. Mm-hmm. And then the happy ending is that I ended up on Fran Drescher, and there's a show called Happily Divorced, where I'm just a 5-line waiter. And then where some guy, we worked together. Yes, Singer and Sons, a show you never heard of, was 1990, my first sitcom. Yeah. And he goes, you're still doing it. And I went, yeah, that's a good thing. Well, it's not sad.
Well, listen,
it's not
every
sad.
single show that you've mentioned, you get a residual from, because all those shows are saying, I know, not that one. I love it. Yeah. Fred, you've mentioned hundreds of shows, and you're like, well, yeah, but that one not, Well, I love what
my new thing I do is, like, okay, now I have residuals where you can have it directly put in your...
Yeah, direct deposit.
So I don't sleep 8 hours a night. I wake up a lot. And now at 2 o'clock
check
in the
your
morning,
residuals?
you could see if there's a deposit.
Listen, for actors, residuals are wonderful because you worked a long time
Not
ago.
so
and
much
you
with
can
Wizards.
Yes. No.
Well,
We
we
get
know.
like
Or
3 cents or
Nickelodeon,
something.
yes.
So where do you get those books? On Amazon? Or
Yes,
is there...
Amazon. It's on Kindle. Oh, this is funny. So like when Maybe We'll Have You Back came out, I'm looking on Amazon. I'm so excited. And then I see, what's it called? Audible. A narrator to be announced, and I made some jokes. Oh, I hope I get it. Turned out someone else narrated my life story. I didn't get to do it.
Oh my goodness.
Who has a voice? Like your voice is so
He was
unique.
imitating me. It didn't make any sense.
That
That's
is
so
very
weird.
weird. I went on an audition one time for a David DeLuise type, and I didn't book it.
I've done that too.
But I
yes.
want to say
Not,
something.
Not for David DeLuise. Yes.
There's one thing that is so interesting, and I just want all the listeners to know this, that sometimes you have a goal and you've achieved your goal of being, let's say, a character actor, but also you didn't even know or put it in there that you were going to be a writer on Seinfeld, but it happened, which was so wonderful. And like I was telling you earlier, I opened up a coffee shop, the Bigfoot Cafe. I didn't know that was going to happen, but it's very successful, and I'm super happy about that. So I just say to everybody out there, if you have a dream, follow your passion. Like my mom always said, we have a gift to give. Give your gift. And sometimes you don't even know what that is. So, but follow that. And I have a mantra now. When I go to bed and when I wake up, I say, I am who I am and I'm enough.
Yeah.
I'm enough.
Oh yeah, I've done
which
all
is
the enough
beautiful,
stuff.
You know?
I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough.
Although I could use
A little air conditioning.
For,
Yes.
But listen, Fred, thank you so much for being
No, I
here.
hope I didn't babble too much.
No, it's great.
The
They're
babbling is
wonderful
what we
stories.
want.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, I loved hearing your stories, and I mean, there is.
Oh, my apology to you.
Oh yeah, we have a Fred Stoller apology to Jennifer
Oh.
Stone. What is it?
Okay, so during the pandemic, I got on TikTok, and I would do like clips, like stories, like they love the wizard stories, and I would tell the things about seeing Justin on her, and the bleeding fingers, and all these, and they loved it, and so then I did one story where I said Jessica Stone, and they lit up the comments. So I apologize for getting your name wrong.
All the time. I don't know what it is about the JE. It gets people all the time.
Jessica and Jennifer get mixed
We're
up.
going to change it to Jessica Stone.
Jessica
and
Stone,
David
yeah,
Dillard.
that's my alias.
Everybody.
So I'm glad you're not mad. They were more mad, your fans.
They get they're very sweet and very passionate, but yeah, they sometimes get a little bit more heated. I tend to
you
let
do.
things,
love it.
Yes.
life is short.
To Fred Stoller,
Yes.
everybody.
Well,
thank you
Cheers,
so
my
much
dear.
for being
Thank you
here.
for being here.
Cheers.
You are so down to. Oh, all right. One last thing. I gotta go. When
I almost just did a spit take. Yes, go on, Fred.
When people say so and so's messed up because they're a child actor or this, I always say David the DeLuise's. So you can't
But
really.
that Jessica Stone, though.
Yes. No. When they come from showbiz families.
Yeah.
Whenever
So-
they say, oh, this guy, of course he's messed up. His father is whatever.
Right. Well-
I always say. I never met Peter, but your other brother, very low key. I hear he's a great artist.
Yeah, he's very
So,
talented. My
I
brother
always
Michael DeLuise. Check out online.
I
He's
always
a wonderful,
mention
talented painter.
The DeLuises, they came from a showbiz family, so you can't use that as.
But don't you think the
cliche.
difference is because your parents didn't act showbiz?
Yeah. Listen, they were very real. They were down to earth. My mom was a part of the PTA.
I
The
heard
microphone
Don
went
could
down.
fix anything. Like
Yeah, he could.
Like that microphone.
Yes.
My grandfather was a garbage man, and he would bring home a typewriter with no A, but you had a typewriter,
Yeah.
so he would love to fix things. We would drive around on Tuesdays in Beverly Hills because that's trash day, and you get it. For his 50th birthday, Ann Bancroft gave him a broken chair so he could fix it. All right, Fred, we're very
love you.
busy. We have
I
a
know you
lot
have more
to
to
do
do.
here.
I'm busy too.
All right. I'm
heart
going
you.
to get some air conditioning. Thank you. Thank you.